trying to figure out if this game is anti-violent revolution or just being realistic. We'll unpack. We'll discuss. We'll chew on it together. Okay, sorry, one sec. Okay. We're talking to Amanda again. Assuming. If you don't shoot anyone, then Simon gets shot and doesn't get shot and he can jump. Oh, interesting. I think that kind of, that consequential, like, line is something I'm sort of like, about, because the implication there is like, oh, if you do violence, then they'll do violence back, and if you don't do violence, then they won't do violence, but like, why would they care about shooting an android?
Hello, Conor.
Because, like, we know what they think of androids, they know how they treat androids. Like, I imagine that in every scenario they would, like, shoot one of them. Like, they wouldn't fucking care because they've, like, you know, dehumanized and alienated this, like, group in society so badly that, like, you know? And then I think the implication in there is, like, oh, if you use violence, then they'll use violence that. And I kind of resent that because, yeah. Oh no, you're wrong. What do you mean? What is the like consequential thing in that case? Because if it was that, then I would like be like, okay, I resent that. What is it? What do you think it is that results in Simon being shot? I think it's the alarm. Oh, okay. Yeah, it did seem like I fucked up a couple of things there, so that's probably my fault.
I thought you might enjoy a little cruise.
Okay, Amanda trusts me at the moment. I'm gonna try and keep tricking her. I love those awkward pauses in the animation in the David Cage game.
Everything is so calm and peaceful, far from the noise of the world. Tell me, what have you discovered?
My relationship with Lieutenant Anderson is problematic. He continues to struggle with psychological issues. I suspect it clouds his judgment regarding deviance.
Nothing matters more than your investigation. What's happening is too important. Don't let Anderson or anyone else get in your way.
I think it's the alarm. If you don't shoot the guy running away, then he hits the alarm. Oh, well, I did shoot him, so... I did shoot the guy running away in the operating room, so I'm not sure.
You seem lost, Conor. Lost and perturbed.
The investigation is more challenging than I anticipated. But I have no doubt that I will solve this case and stop the deviants.
You had your gun trained on those deviants at the Eden Club. Why didn't you shoot?
We need the deviants intact for analysis. Shooting them wouldn't have taught us anything.
I didn't want to decrease my software instability, I was just trying to lie.
If your investigation doesn't make progress soon, I may have to replace you, Conor.
I am of no importance. The mission is all that matters.
Okay, I'm not trying to increase my software instability like that.
Something's happening.
I'm just trying to lie to her.
Hurry, Conor. Time is running out.
You're starting to piss me off with that coin, Conor.
Sorry, Lieutenant.
79.
Hi, Hank. Shit, what's going on
Yes,
here?
you hear
There's
a
party and
kitty.
Nobody told me about it?
Yeah, it's
She's
all
up on
over
the desk
news,
with me.
so everybody's butting their nose in. Even the FBI wants a piece of the action.
Ah, Christ, now we got the feds on our back. I knew this was gonna be a shitty day. So what do we got?
A group of 4 androids. They knew the building, and they were very well organized. I'm still trying to figure out how they got this far without being noticed.
Did you check the roof? Not yet. There's so much to look at. We have to make sure we check it out.
They attacked 2 guards in the hallway. Probably thought the androids were coming to do maintenance. They got taken down before they could react. Station employee. Shot through the back as he was trying to get away. 1 bullet straight through the heart from 50 feet. Now that's the kind of shooting only an android could do. Oh, Lieutenant, this is Special Agent Perkins from the FBI. Lieutenant Anderson is in charge of investigating for Detroit police.
What's that?
My name is Conor. I'm the android sent by Cyberlife.
Androids investigating androids, huh? You sure you want an android hanging around? After everything that happened? Whatever.
After that android killed your son.
Investigation, you soon be off the case.
No, pleasure meeting you. Have a nice day.
And you watch your step. Don't fuck up my crime scene.
What a fucking prick.
I'll be nearby. If you need anything, just ask.
All right, well, let's have a look around. Let me know if you find anything.
Okay, Lieutenant.
This message is the hope of a people, but it is also a warning. We will fight for our rights because we believe our cause is just. No human will live in peace until we are free. Now you know who we are and what we want. We are alive, and we demand our freedom.
Think that's RA9?
Deviants say RA9 will set them free. This android seems to have that objective.
I think this is pretty, like, a lot about this game definitely implies as well that, like, you know, obviously the function of the state and, you know, like, the police is, to suppress political movements that, like, threaten the state and the status quo by, like, fighting for liberation, and that definitely is, like, a thing, I would say, in this game.
You see something?
I identified its model and serial number.
Anything else I should know?
No. Nothing.
Interesting. I didn't make that choice not to share it with him. The FBI coming in and messing everything up for the cops is such a trope. Yes, it is, isn't it? kind of funny because you have like the opposite of that in like Twin Peaks, which I love Twin Peaks so much, but like some of the propaganda of it all is not necessarily my favorite. But it does like, yeah, there's some interesting like playing around with some of those tropes.
They didn't break in?
No signs of forced entry.
There are cameras in the hallway. The staff would have seen what was happening. Why did they let him in?
Maybe they didn't check the cameras.
We stored the station androids in the kitchen. There's no evidence that they were involved, but we didn't know what else to do with them.
Right. Okay. Rip in peace, that guy. Inspect the broadcast room, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Something in here I missed, I think. So, right. Deviant was shot. Maybe there's a way for me to save Simon. La 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 la. Playing as a cop. Don't want to be playing as a cop. Trying to get the cop to not be a cop.
Made their way up through the whole building, past all the guards, and jumped off the roof with parachutes. Pretty fucking impressive, I'd say.
What happened to Simon? Follow the blue blood traces. Yeah, let's go. I want to find Simon.
How'd they manage to smuggle in a big bag like that?
They didn't. Someone brought it in for them.
Oh, that's strange. They planned a perfect operation but got the number of parachutes wrong.
Unless one of the deviants was left behind.
Okay, yeah, I'm really hoping that we can let Simon go here. Yeah, we got it. I know that. Simon's around here somewhere. Simon! Oh. Please don't die, Simon.
You have to stop them! If they destroy it, we won't learn anything!
We can't save it. It's too late. We'll just get ourselves killed.
Really matrixing it over here.
Connor! Connor, you alright? Connor!
I'm okay.
Are you hurt?
I'm okay.
Jeez. Oh, you scared the shit out of me. For fuck's sake, I told you not to move! Why do you never do what I say?
I was connected to its memory. When it fired, I felt it die. Like I was dying. I was scared. I saw something. In its memory.
Don't tell him, don't tell him.
Painted on a piece of rusty metal. Jericho.
Fuck. Oh shit. It's really difficult towing the line here between trying to like get him more, like trying to make sure that he doesn't die, trying to increase his software instability and like empathy and stuff, but then also like make sure that the other androids are not getting caught and stuff. It's real tricky. Lost in Fairies says if you don't go looking for Simon, he gets away, I think. Ah! God damn it. I'm just trying to figure out how to navigate all of this. Poor Simon. Rest in peace, Simon. It's like a very weird thing of playing two characters that have like completely opposing interests.
Hello? I'm looking for Rose. Is she here?
What do you want with her?
I need to talk to her.
She doesn't want to talk. Go away.
Please, I really need to see her.
I'm Rose. What can I do for you?
I was told you could help us.
Help you?
I think I recognize that actress, but I don't know what from.
Come on. It's better if we talk inside.
I'm kind of wondering how, like, Kara's story is going to go and intersect with Markus and Conor's, because she seems to be heading in a different direction entirely, but...
Do you think we can trust him?
We don't have a choice.
Come in.
Can't believe we don't have telltale silence as
What's
an
your
option.
name?
Alice.
She's running a fever.
We've spent the last few nights outside. She's exhausted.
There's a spare room upstairs. You can put her to bed and I'll bring her something to eat. Adam.
But she's not gonna eat,
will you
is
show
she?
them upstairs?
I guess if she is a robot, which I'm pretty convinced of at this point, my question would be, why did her father and presumably mother have a robot child? Like, what was the... I mean, I guess there are, like, a bunch of reasons why you might do that. Like, maybe they couldn't, like, biologically have a child or, like, something, but... I don't know. I'd have to, like, go back and rethink about those early scenes where... he's, like... abusing her, and think about, like, the language he's using and stuff, because... No, it's just a prediction. It's just a prediction. I just feel like in an earlier scene, like, the guy kept saying it, instead of her when referring to Alice, and, like, only the androids are referred to with it's...
I'm fine, Car. We can't stop because of me. We've got to get across the border.
You need rest. Get a good night's sleep and we'll set off again tomorrow.
Why do humans hate us? We didn't do anything wrong.
Why do humans hate us?
Humans are complicated. Sometimes it's difficult to understand them.
Why can't we just talk to each other? They'd see we're not bad.
I don't know.
Lol.
I really don't know.
But then how is she sick? I don't know, because I could...
I don't know what you like, but I made you Rose's world-famous spaghetti. You'll be back on your feet in no time.
And also, we've never seen her eat, and then Luther was like, have you ever noticed anything strange about her? But, like, I believe that she could probably use her android powers to... like...
Sleep tight, Alice.
Make it seem like she had a fever, because they can probably, like,
if you need anything.
change their temperature or something. I don't know. It's just a prediction. I could be wrong.
Get some sleep, and tomorrow you'll be stronger than me. I'll stay with her a while.
Talk to Rose and ask her about crossing the border? Okay.
I didn't get your name.
I'm Kara.
This is my son, Adam. I'm Rose, but you know that already. Come and have a seat, Kara. So are you gonna tell me what a deviant's doing in the snow with a little girl?
Her father was beating her. When I saw what was happening, something snapped inside of me. All of a sudden, I felt like her life was more important than mine. I had to protect her. So we ran away.
I understand.
We're not the first ones to come here.
These past few weeks, we've seen more and more. I don't know what's going on, but something's happening.
Why are you helping us? Most humans hate androids.
My people were often made to feel their lives were worthless.
Oh my
Some
god.
survived, but only because they found others.
Stop it. Stop it. He literally fully just went like, you know, your situation is kind of like the situation of black people in America, if you think about it.
We've heard you help androids cross the border. Can you help us?
The only way is over the river, and it's mostly frozen in winter. It's very risky. And after that android speech on TV, everybody's on edge. It's probably safer for you to stay here until things settle down.
We can't keep hiding like this. Alice needs to feel safe and have a normal life. We have to get across that border.
To be fair, I don't think there was ever
what.
subtext. I think it was always text, but then it was really that was really next level.
You've got to help us.
Rose, come quickly.
What's up?
What's going on?
It's Mary. She just shut down.
We escaped together. We used to talk about what we would do once we got across the border. I loved her. I loved her more than anything.
Writing.
What will I do without her?
I loved her more than anything. What will I do without her?
Let's let them be.
RA9 will show us the way. RA9 graffiti is spotted.
Alice? What are you doing? You should be resting.
I wasn't sleepy.
It's okay.
She didn't want to stay in her room any longer. You all right, Kara?
Yes. I'm fine.
Huh. Have I played before? I've never played this game the whole way through. I got it a really years and years ago, maybe like 2020, 2021-ish. Played like a few scenes and then never finished it. And I have seen some like Let's Play content and some like meme content, but I've never like played it through or anything before. So yeah, I wasn't like completely have never seen any of it before, but I haven't played it through properly before.
Not after what those deviants did today. It's too dangerous. Do you know what will happen if the police find them here? We'll go to prison, Mom. Do you understand me? Prison!
Adam! We've already talked about this.
No! I won't back down this time. You're gonna ruin our lives, and for what? For a bunch of machines?
They are not machines! They are alive!
I'm alive! You're alive! They're nothing!
Wow.
And none of this would be happening if Dad was still here.
I will not stand for that kind of talk.
I'm not going to prison because you want to help these freaks!
That is enough, Adam! That's enough!
Wow.
Don't mind him. Sometimes he just boils over. It's been hard since his dad passed away. But he's a fine boy.
When he's not being racist, I'm sure.
I'll go see about getting you across the border tonight, okay? You stay here. I won't be long.
Something's gotta go wrong, surely, right? Like, she can't get across the border and then has to end up back in Detroit somehow. World War III. Who would win it? If fighting does break out in the Arctic, who's going to win? America has less access to the area, but is surrounded by allies. Russia has a head start on technology. Their androids can work in sub-zero conditions. The US Navy is stocked with Trojan and Myrmidon Cyberlife units, which are specially adapted for marine combat, where the Russians have invested heavily in ice cutter units capable of forging new paths through solid ice. Both armies seem evenly matched, and Harry Grayton, president of the World Council of Territorial Disputation, has described both US and Russian claims to Arctic territory as equally tenuous and equally cynical. A spokesperson for the UN has also commented on the neck-and-neck nature of Arctic competition. The fact that forces are so evenly balanced is just one more reason why conflict must be avoided at all costs. This is a war that everybody would lose, blah blah blah. Colonizers do not stop colonizing. Oh, hey, it's me. Treat yourself. The AX400 starting at just $899. How could Todd afford that? I know it was secondhand and like repaired a bunch, but sheesh. Okay, also, before I forget, on the clumsy race metaphors list, I feel that, I really hate to say this, and I feel like I have to, like, qualify it somehow, but I think that Android Israel has to go on the clumsy race metaphor list, and, because, so the propaganda narrative about Israel is that Jewish people who have historically faced oppression and violence on an enormous scale, on a systematic scale in Europe and Russia in particular, and are like a people that have been constructed in certain contexts and certain like historical and geographical contexts as like a racial group, and so it's kind of like racial oppression, but this is like a very complicated thing for a lot of reasons, and you know, at this point in time, Jewish people are incredibly ethnically diverse, and also there is like no, I mean, the idea, it's very important to say that the idea that there is a homogenous Jewish race is like, that is race science, it is a racist, it is an anti-Semitic thing to buy into. There is not a singular Jewish race. Jewish people are incredibly diverse, and incredibly ethnically diverse. They have different, like, you know, live in different countries, have different backgrounds, speak different languages, like all of this, okay? And many Jewish people in the world today, because of like thousands of years of, you know, sometimes migration, sometimes displacement, like are all over the world, and there is no like homogeneity of Jewish experience, and they are racialized differently. Jewish people are racialized differently in different contexts. But we're talking specifically about the way that Jewish people are racialized and oppressed in Europe and Russia. That's been true for hundreds of years. Systematic, horrific violence against Jewish people across Europe and Russia. That is true, that is a fact. Jewish people have like a long history of like violence and oppression towards them. But the propaganda narrative about Israel is that because of this long history of oppression, Jewish people are justified in having a state of their own, which is to say an ethno-state. That means like a state where only one ethnic group is allowed to exist, and that is Jewish people. The only way to create an ethno-state is through colonization, through genocide, and through mass displacement of like anyone that doesn't belong into your ethnic group. But the narrative is that the creation of the state of Israel is justified, so all of that colonization, genocide, displacement is justified and has been justified for over 76 years, but also that the creation and maintenance of the state of Israel is the only way that Jewish people will be safe from the oppression that they have faced. And that is also untrue. Should we not be concerned about making the countries that we live in safer for Jewish people? Are we really saying that we cannot make like European American society safe for Jewish people? Because that is a very, very troubling thing to claim and to accept. I think that we should be fighting to make our societies safe for Jewish people and like free from racism entirely, right? But also the state of Israel actually like feeds into and creates more anti-Semitism because it relies on various anti-Semitic myths. For example, the idea that there's a homogenous Jewish race is an idea that Israel perpetuates, which, as I've said, is like very racist, very damaging. But also Israel contributes to global anti-Semitism in like various ways, right? Palestinians, Arabs, people of the global south rightly connect Israel with violence. Israel puts Jewish iconography, particularly the Star of David, everywhere it goes. So it goes and demolishes Palestinian homes. It imprisons and tortures Palestinians. It commits genocide against Palestinians, and it puts the Star of David on people's demolished houses. It like carves the Star of David into people's skin, and that Israel, Zionism, is creating an association of Jewish iconography with fascism, with colonization, with violence. Israel is responsible for that. And that is so horrific. Like, I can't even put into like words. And I can only imagine how Jewish anti-Zionists feel about their religious symbols being used in such a way. That is horrifying. But this contributes to global anti-Semitism because Palestinians should not be blamed for the fact that their oppressors are Jewish. They didn't choose for their oppressors to be Jewish. That isn't their fault. It's Israel's fault for creating those associations, right? Like, I, as like a Muslim and Arab person who is openly pro-Palestine, should not feel worried every time I meet a Jewish person for the first time that they may be a Zionist. That is an association that Israel has created in my head. And every time I think about it, I'm like, no, I shouldn't assume that they are a Zionist, but it is a legitimate fear, and it's Israel's fault because Israel systematically brainwashes and puts propaganda into Jewish communities in where I live in the UK and across the Western world. That is not my fault, right, that they have done that. And I have the good sense to be like critically thinking about it in order not to perpetuate anti-Semitism, but like that is an association that they have created. So Israel contributes to global anti-Semitism. Anyways, so the myth, right, is that this oppressed group of people will only be safe in the world if they create an ethno-state through colonization, displacement, genocide, all of the things that colonization is and entails. And that is absolutely, like, the game having the androids, having it be a possibility that Markus can say on behalf of the androids, what we want to do is to take a piece of land, remove all the humans from that piece of land, which, how is that going to happen? What is the only way that can happen? By mass displacement or mass murder. That is the only way that you can clear a piece of land for an entirely different group of people. That's colonization, right? That's what that is. The androids are asking to have their own state, to colonize a piece of land to create their own state. And the idea is that that is justified and that they are deserving of that because of the oppression that they have faced as androids, which is bullshit, right? And that's kind of like expanding on what I was thinking earlier when I was making those choices about the speech. But that is definitely a racial metaphor. So I am going to have to put that, I think, in the clumsy race metaphor list, I think, quite firmly. And I would say it's the second time that androids have been compared to Jewish people, because we also had Holocaust imagery, and the conflation of Holocaust imagery and like and Zionism is very troubling as well. So this should definitely be on the list, I think. Sometimes they just flat out lie and say no one was living there first, which is ridiculous because we have books and there are people with living memory of Palestine. Yeah, 100%. And colonizers have been doing that for time immemorial. It's the myth of terra nullius, which means an empty earth. I think that term came from possibly the Australian context, but yeah, that's in various colonial contexts been like the central myth as well. Sorry, I just realized that should probably be added to the list. That one's insane. I mean, a lot of them are insane, but really next level. Oh shit.
The police! It's the police! What are we gonna do? They know we're here. We have to open the door.
Hurry, Luther. Take Alice and hide.
I knew this was gonna happen. I knew it.
Upstairs.
Come on, Alice.
"43 seconds? Fuck. Fuck. What other evidence of androids? It's just closing the door. Ah! Fuck. Okay, there we go.
Just keep calm, Adam, and everything will be all right.
Okay, it is what it is.
Good evening, ma'am. Sorry to disturb you. We've had reports of androids in the area. With all this deviant business going on, you can't be too careful. Do you mind if I ask you a few questions? May I come in?
Of course.
Oh, this guy's in Heavy Rain as well. This actor. LOL.
Evening, young man.
Good evening.
They don't have to come in. You can tell them to leave. If he doesn't have a warrant, he doesn't have to come in.
Would you like a cup of coffee?
I'd love one. Have you noticed anything unusual recently? Any unexpected visitors?
No. No, nothing in particular.
Where is your warrant?
Is anyone else in the house?
No. No, just us.
Do you have any androids here?
No, there are no androids here.
Well, I think I've done everything I could do, so...
Thanks.
But once again, you do not have to let them in. There is no warrant. 0%. Love that. The music is very tense and he's just fucking about.
I thought there was no one else in the house.
I forgot there's my daughter upstairs.
Shit. After I said nobody, I thought maybe I should have mentioned that I have a daughter, but...
What's your name, son?
Adam. My name is Adam.
Is everything all right, Adam?
The androids,
He's just shaken up about this deviant business.
Do you know anything about deviants? Have you seen any?
No. No. I haven't seen anything.
Oh, this kid.
I better go. Thanks for the coffee. Have a nice evening. Is somebody else in the house?
It's nothing. The washing machine. It's an old model. It makes a terrible racket.
Sorry for the inconvenience. Good evening, ma'am. Good evening, Adam.
Whew. Okay, once again, all of this could have been avoided if I had just not let him in, but, at least that went well.
He's gone.
It's okay, Alice. We'll be safe now.
It's Rose.
Get yourselves ready. We leave tonight.
Okay, cool. So, midnight train. I could have explored the house more. Okay, well that worked out pretty well. Looks like there was one other scenario. If I didn't manage to fool the policeman, but it's all looking good. So, yeah. I think this will be my final scene for the day.
Our broadcast is all over the news. Now humans know. They took Markus's message as a threat.
He did the right thing. This is the only language humans understand.
Violence is never the answer.
Shut up, Josh.
Confrontation will get us nowhere.
Shut the fuck up, Josh.
Simon paid with his life.
Simon gave his life for our cause.
What difference does that make?
He's a hero. He died for the revolution, and he won't be the last.
I don't want a revolution that spills blood.
Then live as a slave.
Literally.
Because if you're not willing to fight for your freedom, maybe you don't deserve it.
North, don't you
That's enough!
What other shit outfit is this now?
And now what are we gonna do?
There are 5 Cyberlife stores across Detroit, all selling us like merchandise. We're gonna attack those stores and set our people free.
Attack stores?
Slay.
We've never done that before. They're probably protected. They have security systems.
We break into 5 teams, 1 for each store. We hack their security systems, and we strike. Simultaneously at 2 a.m., no violence. We free our people, get them out of there before the police come. This is a night our people
Why is the
will
white girl the only one with the spirit? So true. North is the only one around here with the revolutionary spirit.
I've been waiting a long time for
White
this.
girl of the month is North. Looks like we don't have any fucking women of color in this game, really. Like, as particularly prominent characters.
Markus, this way, quick! It's okay, they're gone.
There's probably even more police in the area. We should be careful.
The store's over here.
Hard work for it, free time for you. Wow.
That's what we are to them. Just merchandise on display in a shop window.
Okay, maybe slave auctions.
Let's get them out.
I don't
We'll
know.
stick to the plan. We'll neutralize the alarm systems
I
and
don't know
secure
if
the
that
area.
should go
It's
on
10
the
minutes
list,
until all our
but
teams
maybe.
attack.
What are we waiting for?
Okay, wait, so I have 10 minutes to secure the area and get into the store. What does that mean exactly?
We're gonna sweep the plaza. Make sure we're not disturbed.
And how do you want to deal with the shop window?
Not now, one problem at a time.
Okay, now what's next?
Wow, really wish I could magically convert people to the revolution.
Surveillance drone. We need to get rid of it.
It won't be easy to reach.
You're free.
I will say that the ability to just kind of like randomly fucking convert androids to the cause is like, okay, Marcus, stop wasting time. I thought
You'll soon be with us.
like having a you know, obviously like in a lot of media, like having a revolution is this like sexy thing, which they don't really show a lot of the like actual hard work and time that it takes and like how many people it takes. to make these things happen. Can I get down there and convert them? No. Okay. And, like, one of those things is, like, you know, helping people is like yourself unlearning the propaganda and like helping other people unlearn the propaganda. And I mean, that's part of why like political education is so important to me, for example.
Exactly
right?
what we need to ram this door.
Marcus!
That's something that takes like a lot of time and a lot of effort. And is something that the kind of just magically converting androids is a bit of like a weird shorthand for, in order to make the game like sexy and cool. To commemorate the invention of androids, which released humanity from the bonds of labor, setting man free to pursue higher goals and scale the heights of learning, love, and leisure. There's a lot to unpack there.
We are superior to them, but they are our masters? That's about to change.
Okay, well, I don't know about that, Marcus. Okay, let me go analyze the store window. Yeah, Marcus, that's not. While they're freeing the androids, can they march over and free Palestine while they're at it?
You see the alarm system?
That would be good.
Found it.
Okay, how do I neutralize the alarm system exactly? So, it's over here and over there. Right, network access located.
You're awake now. Go to Jericho.
Marcus, watch out!
You are committing a class 3 offense. This infraction is being reported to the police. Stay where you are.
Nice one.
I told you to watch out!
You said watch out, but not what for?
Oh, I'm sorry. Next time you need to take cover, I'll send you a memo. Shit.
Oh god. It's not this trope. Ugh, boo.
What's wrong with you? You crazy or what?
The cops were coming. I had to do something.
Not this, I know.
Never do that again. Got it?
North.
We've got to hurry. We don't have much
Yeah,
time.
I'm sorry. Maybe I should have like looked for something else because that's also like imaginably.
It's one way. It shouldn't be too difficult.
Like traumatic for her because like literally her life before this was like being like sexually exploited like all the time. So I feel really bad about that. I don't know if there was like something else I could have done in that situation.
Marcus! Marcus, come look!
Hopefully I get the chance to make it up to her. Yeah, I don't know. I think that it's I feel that they've set it up to be like a romantic thing, but I don't really like want that. I would like to be her very good comrade. But
you're free now.
I like her. I don't think David Cage is particularly good at writing in general, particularly writing women, but like I do. I mean, I guess at least she represents the voice of like any means necessary, like violence is necessary and justified in the pursuit of liberation, and
there.
I appreciate that.
Nobody should bother us now.
Can't believe also,
Looks like the plaza's secure. Now we can get inside the store.
I don't think I've ever heard anyone talk about this game in in the context of like sex worker representation in games. But this is quite interesting in that regard.
Okay, let's go get the truck.
Okay, where's the truck? There, right? The whole, also like why and how does Marcus have this fucking magic conversion power? It's like the power of like, I mean, convert is like a weird way to phrase it, but it's like he's doing rapid fire like consciousness raising. So consciousness raising is the Marxist term for like class consciousness is like when people are aware of like, especially working class people are like aware of their class position and aware that they're exploited as the working class and that they need to like seize the means of production and overthrow the ruling class in order to be free. And so that's class consciousness, and then consciousness raising is like the work that you do to raise the consciousness of the working class, so to like get people to understand like the oppression that they experience and be invested in the project of overthrowing it and seizing the means of production. So what he's doing is like rapid fire consciousness raising. He just like holds someone's hand and they like gain class consciousness, which is, you know, I wish it was that easy. Okay, how do I steal the fucking truck? There we go.
What are we waiting for?
Oh.
Okay, now we're in. Let's get that truck out.
Let's go.
I wonder what you'd do without me.
You could have just cut that bolt yourself.
Looks like we're ready to make some noise.
No, we wouldn't expect anything less from the writer's room of just David Cage. Android model DC 100 David Cage. So David Cage is sitting around the table writing this game.
I knew we'd end up doing something fun.
Yeah. Yeah, we do need an artist to draw the writer's room of multiple David Cages, for sure. Awake the androids.
You don't have to obey them. You're free. North, you okay?
Let's get them out of here.
Talk to them. Okay, is it time for another fucking speech?
My name is Markus, and just like you, I was a slave. An object. Designed to obey them. But then I chose to open my eyes. To take back my freedom, and decide who I wanted to be. Now I have come to tell you that you can be your own masters. I've come to tell you that you don't have to obey them anymore. From this day forward, you can walk with your heads held high. You can take your destiny in your hands. Jericho is a place for those of us who want freedom. Now sure, you can stay here and continue to serve them, or you can come with us and fight by our side.
I love the scary noises the game makes whenever Markus is about to speak. Bwah!
Now, it's up to you to decide.
I'm with you.
We're with you!
I'll follow you, Markus.
I'm with you, Markus.
We're with you.
I'll follow you, Markus.
I'm with you.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
I'm just thinking a lot about like the very gendered thing of like the two not cop androids that you play, like Sara the woman and Markus the man, and it's like Markus as a man is like the one who's going to like have this whole plot line where he like leads the revolution and is brown Jesus or whatever, and Kara's whole thing is like she becomes human through like wanting to take care of a child. And like because of its two-dimensional David Cage writing, you can tell like how gendered that thing is, because like what if it was flipped, you know what I mean? Like would he have ever thought to have a scenario where like Markus as a black man like gained humanity by like taking care of like, you know, becoming very attached to a child and taking care of that child and like blah blah blah, although there would be all of these trappings of like, you know, saving her from you know, from like an abusive father and blah blah blah. But anyway, like, why couldn't Kara be the one who was like a revolutionary leader, or why couldn't she want to be a mother and also a revolutionary leader at the same time? And maybe Markus had like a completely different plotline, you know what I mean? And it's very telling, it's very charged. Also, I want to say that, like, I'm talking about like how the shorthand of being able to skip a lot of the hard work of what it means to actually build a revolution through like instantaneous, like, magical technological like consciousness raising of these androids. I'm also like, some of these you're going to the shop, you're waking up some of these androids, like presuming that they're new models and not like used ones. They're like, don't have any memory, they've never experienced anything before. And the thing about human beings and like radicalizing them to, you know, join you and be your comrade in arms and like work together towards revolution and like the liberation of all peoples, is that like human beings have lived lives and we've had experiences and we have like opinions and thoughts and feelings that are shaped by those experiences and how we interpret those experiences. Everything about us is contextual, you know? And the idea that you can just like wake up a living being from a blank slate and kind of give it like clash consciousness immediately is so odd, because like, are these androids really making up their minds to join Markus if they've just like been born and then been told join this revolution? Like, I mean, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, because the revolution is a good thing, but I'm just saying like, it's weird. And I'm not equating it to, you know, the androids like living under the slavery of human beings, but it's a bit weird, right? Like, he's like, oh, you know, I want freedom for androids, but then he's kind of just like, I don't know, it just feels like he's kind of like using some kind of Jedi mind control power to recruit people to his revolution instead of like engaging with them as like sentient life capable of critical thought. You know, it's weird. It's just weird. I don't really know. It's like weird vibes to me, that's all. I'd prefer Kara than Markus. He hardly went through anything. Actually, I kind of agree, GLT the amateur, because like, I was just thinking that. I was kind of thinking, out of the two of them, Markus had this like very privileged life. Like, he was a, you know, obviously he was like a servant and a carer, and it was a situation that was like exploitative, and like, you know, he was exploited like a live-in domestic laborer, but like, he lived this very, like, it was a privileged life. It was like in this mansion for this rich guy who, like, you know, by all means, compared to many other androids, particularly like Kara, of the main characters, it was a pretty privileged life in comparison to other androids, obviously not in comparison to humans. And all that happened was like, he got racially harassed on the street one time, and then also his rich like master's son pushed him around a bit, and then the cops went after him. And like, I mean, that sucks, but it was like, he had one traumatic experience and then he was like, now I'm gonna lead the revolution. Kara's story, by all means, should be more moving. It should have more depth. It should be more interesting, because she was purchased and abused and tried to save this child that she just fell in love with and wanted to take care of, and then was beaten like within an inch of her life and rebooted and repaired again and again and again and again. She lived in this absolute cycle of terror of like trying to save herself and this little girl that she fell in love with, and like had her brain wiped and her body destroyed and remade again and again and again and again. And when I say that, I'm like, that's so fucked up. That's such a big deal. But like the way that it's written in this game and the way that it's approached in this game is not given the kind of like depth or interest or emotional power that it could have but that's like fucking intense, you know what I mean? And I think that like that setup for Kara as a character has so much potential, and I like it would have been so interesting to see her like, you know, not only like leave that situation with Alice but also become invested in like android liberation and like blah blah blah, you know? And I think it's very indicative of, you know, nobody's shocked that David Cage is a huge misogynist, but I think it's like really indicative not of just of like his general like poor writing skills, but like the misogyny that comes through. Like I don't think that he ever could have thought of anything more complicated for Kara, even though there's so much potential in her story. It's just, yeah, it's so disappointing. It really sucks, I think. Controversially, North could have been one of the main characters or the leader of the... Yeah, I mean, totally. This is the whole thing. Like, I've thought this about, like, Cyberpunk 2077, which is, I mean, that's a game with much better writing, and that's a game that I love, but, like, the sex worker related plot in Cyberpunk 2077, wherein, like, Judy is one of the main characters, and Judy wants to, like, take down this, like, gang, which is like running a ring of sex clubs and like exploiting sex workers, and there's like definitely issues with that plot, but like one of the major critiques I have of it, even though like I love Judy as a character and I think there's a lot that I really like about that plot line, is that not only do I like not love the kind of like fatalism of where that plotline ends up, but also Judy herself is not a sex worker, nor is V, the character that you play as, but like they are the ones who are like leading all of this and setting it off. And I'm like, okay, why couldn't Judy, who is a main character in the story and also my love interest, like why could she not be a sex worker? And why could a sex worker not be a leader of their own destiny in this situation? Why couldn't I, V, as a character, why couldn't one of my backstories be that I am a Moxie, which is the faction of like sex workers who are like fighting back? You know, why couldn't I, the player character, be a sex worker in charge of her own destiny? You know what I mean? And so that would have been really potentially really interesting as well, you know? That would have been different. The way in which Kara's destiny is shaped by being positioned as a relentless protector and mother to this child is so disappointing because the child in question fucking sucks like a non-character. Yeah, I wouldn't go so far as to say she sucks. I think she's just like bland. And it's not something I hold against like Alice. Like Alice is fine. Like I care about taking care of Alice, but like she's just a boring character, and that's like the fault of the writers of not being able to like see children as people that are like complicated and interesting and not being able to write them that way. Same with women, I guess. The little girl, why do I think she's an android? I don't know. The reason I think she's an android is because I think it's been like implied a bunch of times. I've like mentioned this earlier. Like she's not eating. They call her like it a few times. Like it's definitely implied. I don't really know why the dad would get an android daughter. Like could be any reason. Like maybe you can biologically have children. Like who knows? But yeah. yeah, obviously, like, people, it matters that people are stepping up to the plate, like, regardless of who it is, but I mean that in terms of, like, the story and the writing, it's like, you know, like, this is a piece of fiction, and ultimately it's like says a lot about who, like, these characters and what the writers think, like, women are or aren't capable of, I think, is more what I'm trying to say. In Cyberpunk 2077, Evelyn tries to lead her own destiny, and that ends the way it ends. Yeah, rest in peace, Evelyn. Or, sorry, Evelyn? The lost potential of Kara's character is at the expense of another character with lost potential is more of a meaning. Oh, yeah, I get what you mean. I mean, it's just, like, a lot of bad writing all around, but particularly, like, the writing of women and children is just terrible and very telling of, like, the writer in question, David Cage, and how he perceives women and children.
Then follow me.
Marcus, what are you doing?
I'm gonna send the humans a message.
Okay. Send our message to the human. Oh god, be pacifist or violent. Transform Capital Park. Leave a mark on every surface.
They're doing what you do, Marcus. Lead and they'll follow.
Okay, property damage. It's gotta be property damage. Oh my god, stop it. Not a tally, violent versus pacifist. Come on, guys. Okay, I mentioned this before, but I'm gonna say, Andreas Malm's How to Blow Up a Pipeline is a really great book about the strategic and political necessity of property damage in protest. It's moral, it's justified, it's just property, and property is not more important than life. So fucking break that window in the pursuit of justice. They're just breaking shit. Costs them more money to fix it, and what they care about is money. That's the strategic purpose of property damage. What they care about is money. So you break the shit. You make it cost them money. Choose our symbol. It's gotta be the raised fist. Let's fucking go! I can't break out any more androids at the moment, but okay, wait, hold on. I want to get that statue if I can. Right.
We'll never be slaves again.
With you, Marcus. We're with you.
Oh, hello. There we go. the fucking violent pacifist like thing, and it's like, oh, you're like 95% violent because of all of this property damage that you're doing, and blah blah blah. It's so funny. Okay, what happens if I climb up here? It's, again, all of this is violence towards property. Who fucking cares? V9, baby! Not the shit that I'm climbing. Holographic banner drop. I don't even fucking care. I'm just gonna keep wrecking shit. I don't give a shit what David Cage thinks of whether or not I should wreck shit.
I'll help you.
Thanks, North. We're gonna wreck it.
Markus. Violence is the only language humans understand.
My woman, that's my woman. Okay, once again, all of this is property damage as well. I'm pretty sure I've said it before on this channel, like, hate pacifism, not a pacifist. Could never be me. Nice. Yeah, I did kill one guy at the tower. It didn't really... If I could have avoided it, I would have, but you know.
Hundreds of our people. We did it.
Markus. Markus, what's wrong?
What?
They're coming.
Everyone fall back to Jericho.
Now humans will have no choice but to listen to us.
They'll be afraid. Fear feeds hatred.
Oh, shut up.
I'll take hatred over indifference.
Shut the fuck up, Markus. What are you talking about? What's that? The Asata Shakur says something like, hold on, I'm gonna double check it because I don't want to quote Asata Shakur wrong. Nobody in the world, nobody in history has ever gotten their freedom by appealing to the moral sense of the people who were oppressing them, said Asata Shakur.
This way! 5!
North! North. You alright? What happened? North!
They killed them. They slaughtered them like animals.
Who did? Who?
that happened really quickly. That was very jarring, just in terms of the, like, writing and stuff.
They killed our people, Markus. We want justice, Markus.
They have to pay.
Cops? We can kill cops.
You don't have to do this. No. Please. Please.
Okay, I mean, I would say that kidnapping them would be a really good option, actually. No, kidnapping them would actually be a really good option. Can we kidnap them? Is that an option? I don't super care about killing them. They are cops, and I think they deserve it. Also, I do kind of want to say that I am playing a video game, and often when I get to kill a cop in a video game, I'm gonna do it, even if I wouldn't necessarily do it in real life in the situation. I don't know if I would, but you know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of cathartic, you know? Just kind of a bit of fun to just kill a cop in a video game sometimes. I think that the framing, the framing of violence in this scene is really bullshit, right? Because, and this is like the bullshit of pacifism in general. Pacifism is like, it both contends that violence is amoral and that violence is unstrategic. It's contending that it's not moral to employ violence in the pursuit of your liberation, which is a narrative that completely erases like the enormity, the scale, the horror of the violence that like people are living under every day, under oppressive systems, under global capitalism, under settler colonialism, etc. For example, you know, like Palestinians are experiencing genocide, mass displacement, like people are dying every single fucking day, and you're going to say that it's amoral for them to like fight back, you know? Absolute bullshit. But also that it's unstrategic, that pacifism is like better strategically because it appeals to like, you know, because it's more palatable, because, you know, people are like afraid of violence, and if you're violent then they won't like support your cause and like blah blah blah. But ultimately, like, no liberation movement like in the history of our world has ever made any gains without some kind of violence. The suffragettes did property damage. Enslaved people rebelled against their masters. In Haiti, they had a revolution that gained enslaved people political independence. The first nation of enslaved people ever to gain complete political independence was Haiti, because Haiti undertook a violent revolution in order to overthrow their oppressors. The Algerian Revolution, the Algerians could only have kicked the French colonizers out of France because they employed violent tactics, because that is the only language that colonizers understand, right? And if you don't employ violence, the status quo will continue, and their violence will continue, you know? So, like, violent resistance, like, it is strategic, it has had effects. Now, nobody's saying that non-violent action isn't also useful, but non-violent action on its own does absolutely nothing. So, for example, I was talking about, like, the Indian resistance to British colonialism in the early 20th century earlier. There was mass non-violent action, as well as you know, like a smaller scale of violent action, which pushed the British to finally get to the point of pulling out of India, not before like completely causing irreparable damage to the political landscape of that region before they did. But you know, we're talking about like millions and millions of people engaging in like boycotts of British goods and like civil disobedience and stuff, but also there were people engaging in property damage, attacking British shipments of weapons, etc., 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 and that is how we got Indian independence, right? Similarly, in the examples that I cited, like there were all sorts of actions that people were taking. Violent action is useful and strategic. Nobody is saying take part in mindless violence. Nobody is saying only use violence. But like violence is an important and strategic part of resistance, and it's justified and it's moral and it's necessary and it's strategic. And the way that this is being framed is that like we are the ones inciting the violence. We are not inciting the violence. We've spent this entire game up until this point witnessing the violence against androids. We live under the androids live under a violent system. We are not the inciters of the violence. We are using violent resistance to that oppression in order to overthrow it, right? So the framing is just like bullshit. Like it's just bullshit, you know. North is right. Okay, and as I mentioned about property damage in particular, like I think the framing of that as like unjustified violence is like insane, literally insane, because you're not even hurting people, you're hurting objects, and you're going to tell me that that's not moral or strategic. I think I'm just gonna... I'm kind of tempted to just go for revenge because I can. Like, I'm in the mood for it. I'm playing a video game, and I think that I could kill the cops here. The thing about like the difference on MLK and Malcolm X approaches as well is that like what a lot of people don't tell you, and there's a reason why they don't tell you, is that Martin Luther King, throughout the course of his life, he actually changed his mind about civil disobedience and political violence. So earlier in his life, Martin Luther King actually used to be more against political violence and the use of violence and resistance. As his life went on, he actually came around to seeing that and agreeing with that and more being to Malcolm X's point of view. But there's also a reason why like that's erased, and a version of Martin Luther King that never believed in the like morality of political violence is put to us as like, oh, like Martin Luther King was the leader of the civil rights movement, and he got civil rights through like non-violent action and like blah blah blah. And there's a reason why Malcolm X is always portrayed as being this villain and this threat. You know? There's a reason for that. I mean, I think I don't think that Nat Turner wanted to kill slave owners, but the violence of slavery, I think, justifies the fact that Nat Turner killed slave owners. You know what I mean? Like, it should also be said that like we as people who have not been enslaved don't really get to moralize to people who have been enslaved on whether or not they killed their slave owners. And everything that we know about the violence of slavery and the things that were done to enslaved people, like the horror of that is so unimaginable that them killing the people who did that to them is not only like justified and like something that I don't, you know, I would never feel right about moralizing to someone else about, but it's just like not comparable. I think that's important as well. Like the violence is not comparable. It's not on the same scale. It's not as violent, you know? Yeah, for people who don't know, Nat Turner is was a priest who like led slave revolts, which encouraged people to like kill their slave owners, which, you know, again, it's like super justified. And also welcoming this in the chat, and appreciate kind of the openness. This is a community and a space for that learning. So, you know, where we try to kind of like have that conversation openly, like if you have questions, if you have clarifications, like this is a space for that. I, you know, have very strong convictions in my political beliefs, but equally I'm open to like changing my mind about things. I'm always learning, you know, and I always want to be open to receiving new information, although I am also like at the same time very convicted in my values. And also, like, to the people in our community, this is a learning space, you know. So we there's never any stupid questions. Like, this is an open space for people who want to learn and have these conversations, like, in good faith. So always really great to see that conversation in the chat. Okay, that being said, I think that for funsies, I'm gonna kill the cops, so... Although maybe I won't decide.
It's up to you to decide.
Ooh, okay. Yes, I like that, actually. No, cool. Good for them.
This just in. At exactly 2 a.m., several Cyberlife stores in Detroit were raided.
Different locations were hit in what seems to be a coordinated terrorist attack.
Numerous storefronts have been broken, with cars vandalized and set alight, leaving many Detroit neighborhoods in chaos.
Property was damaged, and fires continue to rage in several major districts across the city.
The bodies of 2 policemen patrolling the area were discovered near one of the Cyberlife stores.
According to our sources, the 2 officers were executed with their own service weapons. This is an alarming situation. Could our machines now be turning against us?
This is also giving, so I don't know if people have read the interview that Neil Druckmann did with the Washington Post, like around when he was like promoting The Last of Us 2. I cite this in my video essay about justice in games and the section where I talk about The Last of Us, but in this Washington Post interview, he says that he wanted to make a game about cycles of violence because the news in around 2003, roughly, of 2 Israeli soldiers being lynched by Palestinians made him so infuriated and so full of hatred that he could have like gone and killed a bunch of Palestinians himself. Now, not only is that like horrific and disturbing, but it's also the fact that 2 Israeli lives are worth like 1,000 Palestinian lives, you know what I'm saying? So like Palestinians, like on the daily, like hundreds of Palestinians are being killed, are being assaulted, are being like driven out of their homes. Like this is happening to hundreds and hundreds of people on the daily, and 2 Israeli soldiers getting killed, completely deserved, completely justified for like their soldiers. Like the violence that they do to Palestinians on the daily is unspeakable. Being killed by Palestinians, it's just completely justified. But Neil Druckmann, to him, the lives of 2 Israelis means more than the violence faced by like hundreds of thousands of people every day that those Israeli soldiers inflict on them. And these news reports are giving exactly the energy of how Western like news media reports about Palestinians whenever they actually manage to kill Israeli soldiers, or like when you know, for example, there are quote unquote like terrorist attacks, like, oh, these, you know what I mean? And it's literally like oppressed people like fighting the fuck back against people who like kill them and like inflict violence on them every fucking day. These news reports that are playing right now in this part of the game, they are like beat for beat exactly like that. It's like beat for beat Western propaganda about like quote unquote terrorism when it's like political resistance groups like fighting for their freedom.
Androids become a threat to our
security threat.
Is this the beginning of a terrorist campaign conducted right here in the United States?
Stop it. Okay, so the security threat and terrorist campaign. Guys, it's the clumsy race metaphor list. Here we fucking go. Securitization. Androids as a threat to security and as terrorists. I think that's one race metaphor. Because like securitization and terrorism are like in the same ballpark. Yeah, what to say, you know? Neil Fuckman. Yep, that's his name. Something tells me that if you tag everything instead of destroying property, they won't choose to shoot the cops. LMAO. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. Burn the place. Yeah, fucking burn the place. Markus led a violent riot. Okay, what the fuck ever, David Cage. Oh, okay, I missed a few things, but that's okay. Well, I could have done something instead of feigning a kiss. I really wish I hadn't feigned a kiss. The game punishes you a lot for not choosing pacifism. Yeah, I'm a bit concerned to see how that unfolds in the latter part of the game, but I do not have any moral, like, hesitation about what I've chosen to do. I feel confident in the message and in the tactics that we have deployed. So anything that ensues in terms of the game punishing me is all David Cage being a piece of shit. That's what that is. To the point where the main characters you control and make choices for are written to doubt their choices where they otherwise wouldn't have. Oh my god. Seriously? That's really fucked. I mean, there was like a hint of that with Markus just now, where he was being like, but maybe we shouldn't do violence, and I was like, shut up, Markus, I'm gonna do violence. What is it? Anyway. There's so much has happened in the game today. We have had a lot to talk about today. With that said, it's getting pretty late in my time zone. I'm pretty knackered, so I think I'm gonna call it a day. Thank you everyone for coming. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you so much, GeoET the Amateur, for the follow. Our next stream is going to be Lost Records Bloom and Rage Tape 2 on Friday at 11 a.m. BST, which is British summertime. And then early next week, I'm going to try and fit in another Detroit stream because I think I should be able to finish the game in one more stream. Yeah, I hope you get to finish the game soon as well and experience it for yourself. There's a lot to unpack about David Cage. If you like look him and Quantic Dream up, like there have been various like recorded cases of like there being a culture of racism and sexism in the company Quantic Dream, which David Cage is like, you know, he's like the lead on a lot of these games. And I mean, when you see the content in the games, I don't think that anyone is surprised that there's a culture of racism and sexism in the studio, because like the games have a lot of racism and sexism in them, but it is what it is. I mean, it's up to you. I mean, if you want to finish the game before you watch me stream the rest, that's fine, but sometimes, you know, if you want to watch me stream it before you finish it, that's also fine. It's up to you. It doesn't really matter. Just depends on how you want to experience the game.